I come before you right now as a servant and someone who is also uncertain. But the solace that I take is not necessarily in what we're going through right now, but recognizing and understanding who is ultimately in control. Recognizing and understanding that though we may not understand, we serve one who does. And when we place him first, when we endeavor to bring glory to him first, when we endeavor to use our blessings to be blessings to others first, then everything else will fall into line. It is my honor to have the opportunity to run for United States Senate one more time, because I believe that in the process of walking in living the faith, in the process of being a living sacrifice, I recognize what jolted me into running again. And it was actually pretty odd. I was rocking my baby boy Christian, I think back in the spring of last year, spring of 2019. And I looked down at him and I was convinced that I was done. I was convinced that I had done my duty. Victory is defined by the Lord, and there's no telling what good was done by our last run. But when I was rocking my son early in the morning and I looked down at him, something whispered to me, "I'm not done with you yet." Something whispered to me, and I knew in that moment that the good Lord gives us our blessings to be blessings to others. I recognize that there are some men who are charged to look after their family. There are some men who are charged to look after their community. There are some men who are charged to look after their state. And I don't know what the future holds, but I recognize that I have the opportunity, regardless of what happens on November 3rd, to not just tell my boys how to get up when they get knocked down, but to show them. I have the opportunity not to tell them what to do when people lie about them, when they spit on them, when they bully them, but to show them. I had the opportunity not just to tell my boys how to become men, but to show them. And to recognize, like my father taught me, that when you have something, you have an obligation, not an option, to serve others. And that's what I endeavor to do now, trust me. I want to go to the swamp just about as badly as I wanted to go to the desert. But I'm doing it for the same reason. Because if those of us who have the ability to stand, to fight, to march, to speak, don't, then those who don't have that ability will be in the same situation and won't be able to do it for themselves. It would be easy to maintain anonymity. It would be easy to, like I said, watch my family and my business grow. But it breaks my heart driving from 13 in Northwestern, where my home is with my family, to drive 4th Street in Clark, where my business is. And both of them are in the 14th Congressional District. And I pass by not just broken homes, but broken factories, and I look at these buildings. These are monuments to the failures, monuments to the lies, monuments to taking advantage of people, monuments of people who put re-election above doing the right thing. And each of these buildings represent families that have left, desperation among us, people who are disappointed and have been failed and are uncertain in these troubled times. People who, as we celebrate and as we are hopeful and as we are supporting each other, don't have the opportunity to have that socioeconomic mobility, are still right now facing financial anxiety, and recognizing the core of who we are as a nation is making sure that everyone has access to the American dream. Well, too few people, regardless of race, color, and creed, in the United States of America do not have access to the American dream, and that's wrong. There are too many people who are benefiting from a vote and not bringing results. I recognize that in this opportunity, again, what happens on November 3rd is up to the Lord and the people of the state of Michigan. But for my part, I recognize that He has placed me in situations and circumstances throughout my life that may benefit my state, that may benefit people who are hurting. When you're talking about a crisis caused by COVID, both economic and health. When you talk about what is going to be required to pull this nation, pull this state out of that economic crisis, potentially depression, Having somebody on the floor of the U.S. Senate, as Mr. Monahan mentioned, who has business experience, someone who's grown his family business by 233% and added over 100 jobs in Michigan, east of Mississippi, that might be a skill set you might want to have on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Somebody who understands what it takes to grow a business and take care of people out of a state that was emerging from a recession, from a city that went bankrupt. That's the type of experience, firsthand experience, that we need representing us in Washington. When you talk about the racial strife and the racial injustices that you see, having somebody who understands firsthand what it feels like to be pulled over in a nice neighborhood, see the flashing lights in your rearview mirror, and wonder if this is the night your 3-year-old son sitting in the backseat is going to watch his daddy bleed out in the street. But you also understand what it feels like to be an officer patrolling areas, putting your life on the line for people who would just as soon see you gone. You understand what it's like to be an officer, to leave your family so that you can preserve the peace for other people. You understand that conundrum and understand that cultural divide, and be able to bridge that divide and bring that healing that's so desperately needed. That's the first-hand experience, because representation matters. Experience matters. And I truly believe that this is the position the good Lord has put me in, because he expects us to use our gifts to bring blessings to his creation. I am not the end-all be-all. I'm the worst sinner you know. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I am saved by Jesus Christ. But I do know that if we endeavor to recognize that we already have the answer, I fear that we're all guilty of this. Government has become a false god. We have been looking to government to fix our problems. We already have the instruction manual. And it starts with us. If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. I forgot seek my face, because that's the relation. Somebody knew that, right? So my Sunday school teacher's going to get me. But that's the thing. The first step is what? Humble ourselves. And that's what we're missing in this country. You have two political parties ripping each other up, and both parties are wrong. Both parties have forgotten the goal. The parties that ultimately need to remember that this doesn't belong to us. This belongs to future generations. This belongs to her. That little girl over there. This country belongs to her. We have to do the right things to make sure that she has a country that we can be proud of. The reason I'm standing here today is because people sacrificed for me. The reason I'm here today is because people marched for me, people fought for me, people bled for me, people did what they needed to do, not because they would benefit, but because they knew one day somebody they wouldn't know would benefit from an America where you could breathe free, where you could worship how you wanted to, where you could be left alone by the government. But increasingly, we are seeking to replace God with government. But when you do that, government becomes your God. We cannot allow that to happen. And I endeavor to do the right things by putting him first and serving his people. Because ultimately, when you do that, you can't lose. So, I'm so proud to be here today with you. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to serve. So I don't know if we're doing the question thing, or we're mingling, or you just want me to get off and leave, or...